The Jougan Is Not Canon. This eye wasn't even real. It was a filler concept. It was just there for the anime. These are the types of comments that I get to see every time I talk about the unique dojutsu of Boruto. The main argument used by these people is that the Jougan was never shown in the manga, which makes it non-canon to the main story. But today I will debunk all such arguments by explaining why the existence of this eye is not limited to the anime. Starting off with the origin story of the pure eye, in which the author is directly involved. The first appearance of this dojutsu took place in the anime adaptation of the flash forward fight. Boruto activates it at will, and it appears totally different than the Byakugan as well as the Tansengan. It felt like he had full control of this ocular power, and even Kawaki was surprised to witness him using this eye. Now the Jougan haters elaborate this scene by stating this dojutsu is anime special, or more likely filler, since the eye portrayed in the manga looked like a Byakugan. They strengthen their claim by stating characters like Denki, Metal Lee and Iwabe also come in the same category. They are solely there for the purpose of filling in the gaps of the anime's timeline, nothing more than that. The Jougan could just be a portrayal of Boruto's Otsutsuki affinity used for the purpose of hyping up the story. Well, it all changed in episode 8 of the anime, which was supervised by Kishimoto himself. We finally got the Jougan lore and how it's going to help out Boruto in the story. It was revealed that he was destined to dispel the darkness with his right eye, which would become the star of hope in the future. Shortly after the release of that episode, an animator working on the anime made a blog post to shed some light on the mystery of this eye. The animator known as Shengsi Huan clarified that the eye wasn't a Byakugan or a Tansengan, but was instead a concept then referred to as a Jougan, meaning pure eye. He further explained that the eye has a connection to the dimension of the Otsutsuki clan, and it functions similar to Naruto's ability of sensing negative emotions. Later we got the name drop of this eye from Urashiki Otsutsuki, who even regarded it as troublesome. Now, even though it should have been clear from the animator's post that the Jougan is canon, he included something in his statement which again gave the haters of this eye a chance to call it an anime-only element. Wong mentioned he hadn't read all the scripts and that this information was tentative. He assured fans that detailed explanations would come in the future and advised them to not overthink it for now, as the author hadn't fully developed everything yet. The fact he pointed out the scripts were incomplete and the events could be changed in the future indicated a potential removal of the Jougan from the story, as the author could have made a final decision to just keep it to the anime and focus on building the world of the manga without including the pure eye. The tricky part was that Boruto's story until chapter 51 was written by Kodachi, and ever since then, Kishimoto has taken his seat back as the script writer. So it was very likely that Jougan has been cancelled since the original author returned to take hold of the story. But fortunately, there were not one but numerous hints indicating the Jougan was an idea of Kishimoto. Firstly, the idea of a flash forward was given by the original author himself, since he wanted to hype things up for the story. This is why the designs of Boruto and Kawaki faced some changes, as the ones shown in the prologue were rushed. Secondly, the final episode of Boruto Anime's Part 1 showcased the protagonist activating the Jougan in both post and pre-time skip scenarios, and since Kishimoto has taken back his seat as the writer long before this episode aired, I don't think he would have let this scene happen if the Jougan was not a part of his scripts. He could have simply replaced it with a Byakugan, but that would be a really bad move, since he had given us another plot point to expand on the Jougan lore. I'm talking about the Otsutsuki God panel, where the background eyes look a lot like the Jougan, alongside the reveal of Shibai Otsutsuki, whose eyes are a sharp portrayal of Boruto and Kawaki's dojutsus. The assertion of the animator makes me think that at the time of the manga's beginning, Kishimoto might not have thought of a way to directly link Boruto with the Otsutsuki clan, but the anime release gave him the liberty to refine his original ideas with vital additions like the Jougan and Toneri. This is why Momoshiki in the the manga doesn't talk about Boruto's Otsutsuki power. Rather, he refers to him as the son of the Byakugan wielder or the one possessing Byakugan blood. There is no mention of Otsutsuki powers in the manga, since Kishimoto back then might not have expanded the story to that point. And after he completed the whole Otsutsuki lore, he decided to add ways for Boruto to have a connection with the Otsutsukis, with the Jougan being the main medium. In a nutshell, the author is smartly teasing the plot points in the anime that he came up with a lot later in the manga. This proves that the Jougan is indeed canon to the manga's story, and the only reason it didn't make an appearance till now is because its concept was coined during the world building of the Otsutsuki dimensions, and Boruto having a link to alien realm was something that was too interesting to be excluded. So how would this Sai make its debut in the manga? Well, it's a question that can be answered in various ways, but the theory that I would like to discuss today has something to do with the Otsutsuki god. In the Naruto universe, there are mortals, godlike creatures, and literal gods, with all of them having a different stature. The mortals are usually the weakest, and the gods like Shibai are said to be the strongest. The protagonist Boruto, according to me, is walking down a path of becoming the strongest, cause that's the only way to balance the right and wrong in the universe. And to become the strongest, he would need to be on the level of the most powerful character in the verse, which is Shibai, the Otsutsuki god. It's very likely that Kishimoto's other manga, Samurai 8, is acting as a blueprint for the destiny of Boruto. Hashimaru at the end becomes a warrior god, the strongest stature of the verse, that too by the help of Fudomuyo, who is himself a warrior god. His mission after that is to defeat Kala, the evil disciple of Fudomuyo, who wants to destroy everything. But before he could have been introduced in person, the manga got cancelled. However, the story of Boruto is still going and is destined to reach some sensible conclusion. I think the Jougan is the link between Boruto and the Otsutsuki god. Let me explain why I think so. The moon-shaped eyes that are wielded by Ida and Daemon reflect their connection to Shibai Otsutsuki. So Boruto's full moon eye could also indicate the same thing, meaning that this dojutsu is literally the eye used by the god Otsutsuki himself. The cyborgs unlocked it the artificial way, but Boruto awakened it naturally as a plot armor. As for how he awakens it, I think Boruto will need to seek this eye inside his consciousnness. The theory that I'm about to tell you guys have two solid bases, and both of them are equally interesting. If you are enjoying the video, please consider subscribing, as I'm about to bring more such content very soon. I think when Momoshiki will take over Boruto next time, it will throw him to the depths of his conscience, where he will be able to meet the supreme deity, the Otsutsuki god. The first base of this theory adds a spiritual angle to the relationship of Boruto and Shibai. It could be that the awakening of the Star of Hope will need the inferior creature to put his faith on the supreme deity, similar to how in the real world, the religious people situate their faith in a higher power. A famous Persian quote says that it's not the mosque or the temple, but the heart is the place where God resides. The same analogy could be incorporated into the legacy of Boruto, as he will need to find Shibai deep within himself, and to do so, he would have to give up on his consciousness and let the inner beast take control. Now what if I told you Momoshiki had already foreshadowed this happening? Back in chapter 71, he appeared to tell Boruto that he will become a helpless silver within his own consciousness after the monster takes control of his body. However, the omnipotence did not make him lose the grip, yet his fear of karma indicates that Momoshiki still has an upper hand on him. So if he manages to take the full control somehow, which is very likely as he's making Boruto shiver by resonating the karma, it's highly likely that his plan would backfire. That will lead us to the most awaited awakening of the Jougan Eye. We should not forget that Kishimoto was inspired from science fiction concepts while writing Samurai 8 as well as Boruto. This is why we got to see stuff such as scientific ninja tools, the karma seal, cyborgs, clones, and much more in the story. Now let me ask you a question. What happens to Boruto's consciousness when Momoshiki takes over? Well, by what the monster has revealed, he apparently gets thrown towards a corner of his psyche, but let's think of it in scientific terms. Momoshiki's genetic data overlaps the entire body of Boruto when the Boroshiki form gets activated. The genetic makeup of the vessel has already been distorted by the monster's DNA ever since he revived him in chapter 67, and since Boruto's karma progression was almost complete, the takeover of Momoshiki must give him a really huge advantage than before, and this also explains the karma phobia of the vessel. So once Momoshiki takes control, chances are the whole consciousness of Boruto gets suppressed so much that it becomes one with the universal consciousness, making the prodigy have a profound spiritual experience. And this must be the time when he will meet Shibai Otsutsuki, the one who would reawaken the star of hope in his right eye. There are concepts from various traditions across the world that could help us to understand this condition better. Like Samadhi is a practice from Hinduism, where individuals meditate deeply to become one with the universe. Let me know in the comments if you like these theories on the Jougan Eye. Also, if you wanna know about the next time travel twist in Boruto, check out the video on the right. You can even get to know about the next flashback arc by watching the video on the left. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and I will see you next time.